Morrisons shelves are empty more often because the company is dealing with a slow-moving structural problem rather than a short-term disruption. This issue has grown quietly over time and only recently became visible to customers through gaps in aisles and missing everyday items. When shoppers notice that basics are unavailable, it creates frustration. Behind those gaps is a complex story about operations strategy, labour economics, and a supermarket model that has struggled to adapt to rapid change. For much of its history, W.M. Morrisons Supermarkets plc was admired for its control of the supply chain. Unlike most British supermarkets, Morrisons owned significant parts of food production. It processed its own meat, baked its own bread, prepared fresh produce, and operated a tightly integrated logistics network. This gave the company a reputation for freshness, reliability, and value. This model worked especially well when shopping habits were predictable. Customers did a large weekly shop, demand patterns were stable, labour was relatively easy to source, and fuel was affordable. Under those conditions, Morrisons could plan production and deliveries with confidence. The shelves stayed full because the system had slack and buffer built into it. As the company expanded nationally, this vertically integrated structure became its defining strength. Executives believed that owning more of the chain reduced risk. For many years, that belief appeared justified. By the early to mid-2010s, Morrisons was at its commercial peak. Revenue was strong, stores were busy, and brand trust was high, especially in fresh categories. The company focused on large format stores and invested less aggressively in online shopping compared to some rivals. At the time, this did not seem dangerous because margins in physical retail remained solid. However, competitors were evolving in different ways. Tesco invested heavily in data analytics and automated forecasting. Aldi and Lidl simplified their ranges and reduced complexity, which made their supply chains faster and more resilient. Ocado refined a model built entirely around efficiency and precision. Morrisons still performed well, but its systems were designed for a slower world. That difference only became obvious later. The first major cracks appeared with labour shortages. Food processing, distribution, and driving roles became harder to fill. Because Morrisons owned so much of its production, any staffing issue had an immediate impact. If an external supplier struggles, the retailer may switch suppliers. Morrisons could not do that easily because it was the supplier. At the same time, fuel costs increased sharply. Transport became more expensive and unpredictable. Morrisons responded by trying to protect customers from price rises. That decision helped maintain loyalty, but reduced operational flexibility. To manage cash flow, inventory levels were tightened. Lower inventory reduces waste and cost, but it removes protection. When demand spikes unexpectedly, or deliveries arrive late, shelves can empty quickly. Even a delay of a few hours can create visible gaps. Suppliers of branded goods began prioritizing retailers that offered higher volumes or simpler ordering systems. Morrisons' complex internal structure made rapid adjustments difficult, and availability suffered. The ownership change added another layer of pressure. Under private ownership, the business faced high debt and strict cost discipline. Investment decisions were scrutinized closely. Store staffing levels were reduced. Distribution centers were pushed to operate closer to maximum capacity. From a financial perspective, these choices were logical. From an operational perspective, they increased risk. Systems with no slack fail visibly when anything goes wrong. Customers began noticing inconsistencies. One week, shelves looked normal. The next week, entire categories felt thin. Managers moved stock forward to hide gaps, but that only masked the problem briefly. At this point, pause and say like and subscribe. This story reveals how everyday experiences connect to deep business decisions. Morrisons attempted to pivot by expanding convenience stores, partnering with wholesalers, and improving online delivery. These moves were necessary, but they added complexity during a period when the core system was already under strain. Change increased friction before benefits could appear. The aftermath is what shoppers see today. Empty shelves are not constant, but they are frequent enough to damage trust. Trust is critical in grocery retail. If customers believe a store might not have what they need, they split their shopping across multiple retailers. This behaviour creates a feedback loop. Lower footfall leads to lower demand forecasts. Lower forecasts mean smaller orders. Smaller orders increase the chance of shortages when customers return. The system becomes unstable. Employee reports suggested deliveries sometimes arrive incomplete or late. Store teams adjust by spreading remaining stock thinly across shelves. This creates the appearance of widespread shortage, even when some inventory exists in the building. The broader shopping environment makes this harder. Consumers now shop more frequently and buy fewer items per trip. Demand patterns are volatile. Morrisons' older forecasting systems were built for stable, weekly shopping. They struggle with unpredictability. The real reason Morrisons' shelves are empty more often is not incompetence or neglect. It is misalignment. A system designed for efficiency in one era is now operating in a different reality. Vertical integration once reduced risk but now concentrates it. Cost control protects margins but removes buffers. Slow change conserves cash but delays recovery. The key insight is that availability is not just about supply, it is about flexibility. Modern grocery retail rewards companies that can reroute products, adjust orders instantly, and absorb shocks without customers noticing. Morrisons can still achieve this, but it requires accepting short-term cost for long-term stability. That means investing in forecasting systems, rebuilding inventory buffers, and simplifying operations, even if margins suffer temporarily. It means prioritizing reliability over efficiency. If Morrisons succeeds, the empty shelves will disappear quietly. Customers will not celebrate the fix because reliability is invisible when it works. If it fails, the shelves will continue telling the story every day. Empty shelves are not just a retail problem, they are a signal. At Morrisons, they signal a business caught between past strengths and future demands, trying to rebalance before trust erodes too far. In grocery retail, trust is everything, and shelves are where that trust is tested. That signal matters because it shapes behaviour long before financial results appear. When customers hesitate at the entrance or mentally plan a backup store, the damage is already done. Recovery in grocery retail does not begin with press releases or strategy documents, but with consistency at the shelf edge. Every full aisle is a promise kept. Every missing item is a promise broken. For Morrisons, the path forward is narrow but clear. Restore reliability first, explain later. Trust returns slowly, one normal shopping trip at a time, until the shelves stop being a warning sign and become invisible again. Please subscribe and like this video for more. If you have any suggestions for a video, or want us to make a video about something, let us know in the comments. We read the comments daily and answer as many as possible. Thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow with a new video.